Hello, this is Marilen Crump, expert dreamcatcher, business developer, and marketing strategist. Today's going to be a very saucy interview because we're going to have Holly Moore, who is the founder of More Intimacy, here today as our guest. And so, as she's coming up, we just want to say hello to all of you out there. And if you're also like looking at different things to talk about, feel free to message me and connect with me, and let's bring those subjects to life. And so, without further ado, Holly Moore. Holly, how are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
Fantastic. I'm doing great. This is going to be super fun. Now, our time our timer's set to on this Wisdom app. Like we have an hour, but actually we won't be speaking that long. So just so the audience knows that we'll be speaking for about half hour here. But I do
Okay.
want to pick your brain because you're doing something very exciting and very much how do we say, like, I think well timed actually, because people are in, like, sometimes I feel like people get in a rut, and especially culturally, we've been in a rut about intimacy, sexuality, and all of that wonderful stuff. And sometimes we're super scared about it, and I just love your spirit about it. So, first of all, so tell me, Holly, where are you from?
I am originally from Ohio, but I reside now in North Carolina with a beautiful little girl. And yeah, I love it there.
And you're embarking on really helping couples build that intimacy within their relationship, right?
Yes. Yes.
And with that said, like, I know that you and I have been discussing certain things that's different about what your approach is. So could you give us a few points of like what makes you different than other things that we might be running into in regards to intimacy and relationships?
Okay. Well, I've always been a little quirky and a little bit different. So, in retrospect, what I do is I listen to couples' needs to create and facilitate a relationship and intimacy plan.
Mm, I like that. Having a plan for intimacy. Why should we be planning for our intimacy?
And like you said, I'm just going to piggyback off what you said. Sometimes we can get into a rut, you know? You
Okay.
have the kids, you have work, you have life, things just
Girl.
go on, you know?
Yes.
And you have to make it spicy. You have to keep it fresh, and sometimes we lose track of what really matters. And that's how we got together and why we got together. Our why, we have
Ooh.
our whys in business. Why not our why in our relationship?
I think sometimes, and I'll tell a revealing story about me. Is that like in the past, right? I didn't trust myself, and there were decisions made, and I didn't end up with the right person. Long story short, but then there was like trauma around that. So then, by the time you get with somebody that is like your ideal, and you eventually, get married and all that stuff, maybe you have some inhibitions or maybe some fear.
Mhm.
So, with your particular, with what you do for people, like how do you address those things?
I think that, girl, most of us, we tend to, we grow through our relationships, right? And we develop and we grow and we mature. And
Mm,
sometimes we do, we fall upon or do get into the wrong, types of relationships. But, when you have somebody and two people that are working together and they want the same thing and are on the board for the same thing, but they just don't know how to meet that destination or that goal. So we just, sit down, we converse and talk about what each other what each other person wants.
yeah.
And so and I believe that everybody wants to be heard, everybody wants to be listened to. So, this gives them the opportunity without any prejudgment, for them to open up and express what they really want.
Oh, that's cool. Because it's almost like a sounding board. And what if we're shy though? What if we're like, hey, as a couple, we've never talked about this stuff. Oh my gosh. Now we're gonna ask who's this Holly person to like come into our bedroom. Like what do you say to that?
Oh, you start off slow. We have a questionnaire and we'll start off slow and see what each other person is at, because my level won't be where the other person's level is at, if that makes sense.
True.
You
Yeah.
know, and so each other person has to have empathy, to actually really to understand that where that other person is coming from, and you know
So a
to
lot of
get
it
to
is
their
not
next
even
level.
in the bedroom. You're talking about when you're saying, oh, they have to have an understanding of each other.
Hmm.
There's a lot of, from what I'm hearing from you, there's a lot of like emotional support.
Yes, yes. And I think that those things happen outside of the bedroom that carries over into the bedroom.
And vice versa, right?
Yes, and vice versa.
Oh, okay. Like give us one example. Like if we are struggling with something in the bedroom, like how could that show up in our lives outside the bedroom?
Trust, for example. Okay, so if I want to be like, okay, honey, let's try something different. Let me blindfold you, and I would like for you to trust me, and I'm going to let you try different fruits, right? And he's like, oh my gosh, I barely trust you to, um, take the dog out of the house, or, that's just
Right?
an example,
Okay.
and,
Yes.
you had your arguments. And so, those things need to be cleared away so he can feel like, okay, I can trust her. I feel safe with her, or, vice versa. I feel safe with him. I feel comfortable in letting him do that. And I know no harm is going to come.
I like your approach because I think sometimes people approach it like there's a lot of talk and there's a lot of things out there that approach it from the outside and let's fix your budget, let's fix your finances and all this stuff. And I think I love how your approach is, why don't you get to the essence of one another in the most intimate sense and then let that affect your decision making outside of the bedroom. What?
Yeah.
That
Yes.
is cool.
I love how you put it. Yes, yes, most definitely.
Well, I think people are going to be pretty excited about just what you're building here. And I know you're working on a couple of books actually, and one book being prayers, and that's really different, where we hear people praying about intimacy. What do you say to that when people are like, "What? Can you really pray for that kind of thing? Like, isn't that something God wouldn't want you to pray about?" Like, what do you say?
Yes, I mean, because God wants you to be intimate with Him first and foremost, right? So just having that relationship, that connection with God, and just bringing Him closer, because He knows the desires of our heart.
Mm.
He knows the desires of our heart. And to be connected with Him, and to be connected with that, your partner, your spouse, it just brings that relation to full circle, and it brings it on to a whole level, another level. When you love somebody, but when God's in the bedroom and when God's in your relationship, it just elevates it to this whole other level. Understand, like if you once see a picture in black and white, and then you see it in full color. That's
Ooh.
how I would explain it. You
Oh, I
know,
like that explanation.
yes.
Okay, because sometimes people think that I got to separate that. Like I got to separate my faith with my my love making. So so you're actually saying it's okay.
It's okay. The bed is undefiled. God is in the bedroom regardless, because when you made that commitment under God, right? You made a
Yeah.
commitment under with Him, and He wants when two are together, you're in the image of God, right? So it's just a beautiful thing. It's like a beautiful melody, a beautiful song,
Mm.
a warm gentle breeze. So I believe that God wants you to pray about these things, pray about your difficulties, pray about your insecurities. He wants you to pray and come to Him, and even with the love portion of it, even Songs of Solomon. If it's in the Bible and Songs of Solomon, it has to be right.
Oh yeah, Songs of Solomon. And that's a lot of reading. Right? Like he didn't just skimp on that section of the Bible. He was like, "Wait a minute. Go ahead, Solomon." That's so wonderful. And I think that's what changes the game for me and for other people is that you're willing to bridge that faith into a place where some people have put shame
Yeah.
around it.
Yes. That stigma is unfortunate because I hear from too many women of, when they, were younger, they were drilled in their heads about you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. And so once they found their significant other, they were too ashamed to open up to give them all to their other partner. And it shouldn't be, you should be hanging from the chandelier. So I want to see couples come together like never before and express their love fully, pray about these things, worship while they're in their lovemaking and not have any regrets or be ashamed of it.
So this is mainly for those who are really already committed to one another. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Not and on the retrospect, when you are with the prayers and you want more intimacy with God, and you're praying for the next level to be with another, be just God to send your husband or to send your partner with to be with you, and you want these things on your checklist. Some of us are not virgins coming out of this, right? Some of us are divorced. Some of us have made a couple mistakes, but we know what our desires are, and God knows our desires of our heart to be fully satisfied.
So we could be a sexy Christian. What?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I see you. I see you because I'm liking your TikToks. And
Thank
I
you.
I love it because I think the essence of being just in that femininity too, like to be able to express that and not shy away from that is also like it feels so freeing and like you said, it's that expression, seeing things in color when before they were just black and white, do this, do that in the bedroom.
Mhm,
But now
mhm.
you're like, whoa, what? There's like scents and flavors and
Yes, yes. So all
softness.
the five senses, right?
Ooh. So, if let's say we are gearing up for a very romantic evening with our significant other, what
Mhm.
are some fun things that we can do together that would create a bond, like prior to, like what, maybe some date ideas? Do you have any ideas of what some fun things we could do on a date before, a date
Oh,
night?
a day night. I think that, well, just maybe a candlelight dinner. I think certain things like candlelight dinners where there's music playing and you're gazing into each other's eyes and talking about, why you fell for that person, the desires, what turns you on of that individual, their lips, their eyes, the way they, blush when they say that I love you. It's just a little thing,
Oh,
right? So I think that builds upon, it's like a building blocks throughout
ooh.
their throughout the, and not even just to get to that particular date night. You have to do those building blocks before you get to the date night, right? You could be sending flowers, depending on what their love language is, words of affirmation, sending them a lovely text, right? Letting them know that you're thinking about them, letting them know that you're proud of them, letting them know that you're the woman of or man of their dreams. So it's sometimes it's the little things that build to the big things, I believe.
I like that you said that. There was one time I went over to my parents' house. So they've been married forever. Like
Mhm.
they met because he prank called her house. So so
That's cute. I
if
love
it
it.
weren't for my dad being a punk, I wouldn't be here. So shout out to my dad. All right, so well, I went to their house one time and like there was a big thing of peppermints like sitting on the counter, like one of those big tubs of peppermints. And I was like, what in the world? What's all this for? And my mom says, "Oh, your dad got me that because he knows I like peppermints." And I was like, that was so significant to me at the time because I was going through a divorce.
Okay.
And that had never happened in that marriage where that person went above and beyond to give me something that they knew it was inconsequential, but I liked it. Like literally, my mom probably just said, "Oh, those mints taste good." And my dad was like, "What? Let me
Yes.
get her a big, huge tub of that." Like,
I love it.
like
It's
I just
the little
remember
things.
crying over the peppermints,
Oh.
thinking that I didn't have that, like. That's what I wanted. And so now that I do have that, it's like, wow, that experience was so telltale that how long somebody would be around for your needs. Because if they
Yeah.
could just, like you said, just do the love language, or even if it's their love language. So I don't even know if my mom really appreciated having a million peppermints, but but just the fact that it happened. So thanks for that, because I totally forgot about that, that day. And now it's like, oh yeah, I remember crying over peppermints.
Yeah, and it brought you to a point where you realize, you know what, I want somebody to listen to me, even if it's the small things. I
Yeah,
didn't have to point out every little detail, but letting you know that, man, he heard me. He gets me, And everybody wants to feel like that person gets them. I'm not saying that they're a mind reader, but they listen to the little things.
that's right. Do you hear my cat? So my
Yes,
cat, my cat
he's
is like,
agreeing.
"Mm." Well, see, his love language. But here's the thing about cats, and I actually had to talk about this because they, well, this particular cat, like
Uh-huh.
he will get his needs met. Like he
Okay.
will be, like he won't be shy about it. And I feel like sometimes if we don't say what we want to our partner,
That's good.
then we'll never really get what we want, right?
That's good.
And look, the cat doesn't even have words. Like the cat gives me that look, gives me that meow, like that sound, and I'm like, oh, all right, I know what you
Yeah.
need.
Yes. Because you pay attention.
Pay attention.
You're in tune with that person. You're not just going through your daily, well, the cat. You're in tune with it. And so when you're in tune and not just moving. And sometimes in life we do get built busy, and I was guilty of that too. You have to sometimes slow it down, and be an active listener. And
Nice.
sometimes we forget the fine details. But sometimes
You're like a personal intimacy trainer.
yes, yes, I would like to look at myself like that, right?
All right, people, today.
Let's get in shape. Let's get
Let's
in
get
shape.
it going. That's right. Ooh, that's good. That's good. I like that. I like that a lot. So, do you find it fun? Like, because I mean, have you weren't were you ever shy talking to people about things like this? Like, I know for me, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm having a conversation about sex. What's
Um,
going on?
No, it was always, and it'd be strangers. It'd be my girlfriends, and it'd be guy friends. And it was like, okay, maybe I'm onto something here, right? And so not only sex, but just personal problems or issues or something. So
Oh,
that's a gift. And it's an honor to me that they feel so comfortable enough to come to me and open up like that. And it takes a lot, right? It's brave for somebody to share their innermost thoughts, their innermost fears with you. You know, a
yeah.
a total stranger, even somebody that they actually know, right? So I commend anybody who has ever came and opened up to me about any issue that they have, right? But I have never been afraid to talk about sex. Sex is something that all these kids are here, right? You see these couples that are here forever, so you know that somebody is having sex,
You
and
mean you
I
didn't
just
trip and fall? Oops. That's the excuse, right? I just slipped. And then boom.
sometimes it happens for people like that, but for most of us who want a deeper connection, it takes a
Right.
little
Well,
bit
you
longer.
know what? I like what you said, that people have been so easy to confide in you, that you've been able to draw like these things out. I mean, probably inadvertently, they're just like, "Hey, Holly's here. Let's talk to Holly." And I think
Uh-huh.
that's why I dub you here. Everybody, listen to this. I dub Holly the Oprah of sex.
I'm honored. I am so honored. I am honored that I'll carry that title proud.
Right. So Oprah of sex. And the reason why I say that is because she would do that. Like she would be on those stages and they're literally talking to millions of people, and she would draw it out of them and find that
Yes.
like, real essence of their story.
And I want to do that. I want to bring people together closer than ever before. And I just feel like people are just so afraid to hurt the other person's feelings and they neglect their own sometimes, because when you're with that person, you don't want to hurt their feelings. But then sometimes you feel like if this person would just do this, or I don't want to hurt them, I don't want them to feel this way, and I feel like if we
Oh,
open
yeah.
playing field, open playing field with no judgment. Like, okay, we want to get that goal. We want to reach the goal. And that's the goal is I want to satisfy you and you want to satisfy me. And we want to bring this thing to, I don't want to rhyme, to total ecstasy, right? But we want to bring this thing to a total intimacy, right? Total intimacy. And that's where I want to get to. I want to help couples. And I see it within them when they come and they talk to me.
Well, so do you think that as you're, just building your clientele, you're getting out there doing all the things that you're doing, like, do you think something's going to shift in our culture? Like the way we relate to each other?
Yes, yes, I'm praying so that, because even in our relationships that we do hand, because I feel as though we we're sometimes too sensitive and we don't judge the person by their heart, right? And
Oh, yeah.
sometimes, we have to sometimes place our, I have to look at it from your point of view. You may be going through a lot of things. You're a mother, you're a wife, you're a businesswoman, and you are going through a lot of things at that particular moment in time. And just because you said a couple of words that may have been snappy, it doesn't mean that you don't like me, right? Maybe because we've had intimate conversations, right? Say that we have intimate conversations before. And like, I'm going to look at that intimate conversation and I'm going to show you grace because, everybody wants to be shown grace. So I show grace so I can have grace be given unto me. Right.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And that's where that intimacy part comes along too, because you can be intimate with your friends too. Right.
So, as something that may have started from a need of fulfillment, it might even evolve to a giving of grace, like you mentioned.
Hmm.
Whoa, that is brilliant. And are you going to be doing some public speaking? I think you may mentioned that to me before.
Yes, yes, yes. I am going to be doing some public speaking, hopefully in the near future. And I'm just fine honing my skills right now and getting better, trying to become a more powerful speaker. And I want to be able to pinpoint where individuals need my help, right? I want to be
Yeah.
the GOAT, as they say. I want to be the Oprah of sex. So I want to be able to be well polished,
And
and
you're going to create a YouTube channel too? Like,
yes, yes, all of that
oh,
is yet to come. A YouTube
exciting.
channel,
You heard
hope.
it here first. Woohoo.
So I'm excited. I'm excited what's to come. I'm excited. I can't wait. I really truly can't wait.
Wow. So if you were to give us like a simple prayer for
Ooh.
for us to maybe listen to again later, like could you give us one?
Yes, I can. Let me see. Um, Now you put me on the spot.
I
See,
know I did.
you gotta watch out. Okay. So let me say, dear Heavenly Father, I'm so grateful to share slow, sensual touches with my partner. I'm thankful to wake up next to him today and every day for the rest of my life. I pray for our days to be filled with delightful moments, filled with stolen kisses and sensual moments of pleasure that we share together. God, let us embrace each other with love and passion every day.
Wow, amen.
Yes.
Whoa, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I
Wow.
appreciate it.
Well, I know you've been working hard on the things that you're setting up for your company, your brand, and the people that you're serving. I really appreciate the fact that, you're pursuing your dreams and your goals are becoming reality. And that's really what I'm about. Like, I love bringing people to these conversations, just sharing what they're passionate about, and also just to encourage others who are listening and also thinking of their path forward. So, with anybody out there who's thinking of like becoming an entrepreneur or trying something new, what can you say about that as far as like what they need to be equipped with or what they need to prepare for?
I would say that don't listen to that inner voice that tells you you're not worthy, that you're not worthy. You have a call upon your life. God has placed a call upon your life to be shared with the world. And, faith without works is dead. So you have to have that faith. You have to push forward. You have to move forward little bit by little bit.
Mm.
Life may knock you down. You brush the dust off and you keep moving. And don't compare yourself with anybody. Don't compare and look to the left or look to the right. Keep your eyes straight towards the prize of where you want to get to, and get a mentor, get a coach. If somebody would have told me to get a mentor and a coach sooner, I would have done it. So those.
Woohoo! Well, I think it's fantastic because I mean, like full disclosure, I get to have the honor of that, like coaching Miss Holly Moore here,
Yes.
and it's so fun for me because like I can honestly tell you I've never worked with a client who said that they want to tackle sex. So it's an absolute thrill.
Yay! I'm so excited.
You're the first girl. Like,
I'm so excited. You've been heaven sent, and you actually get me. And I have other people who didn't believe in my dreams and shoot them down. And you actually brought my faith and what I've been called to do together. And I didn't know how to do it, but you saw the missing pieces like a puzzle and you placed them together. And I will forever be thankful and grateful to you because I just didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I knew I wanted to do this and this, but I didn't want to, negate my faith, if that makes sense. So
yes. And to me, that's super important. Like, if all else, like, I never want to be the one that takes anyone away from their faith. Like, if I could be the testimony to help say that I brought them closer to it, oh my gosh, like,
yes.
then I've done my work on this planet.
Yes.
And look at both of us, like both, like you and I met earlier today, and we're both congested and getting over like feeling sick, and yet here we are. We showed up,
Yeah,
right? I
yes.
think that's another testimony because some people will find different excuses on why they shouldn't show up or why they
Mhm,
should
mhm.
just put it off. But you've stuck with it. Like
Yeah.
I've been giving you different things to meet, and you're doing it. Does that
Yes,
surprise you about yourself, or like
that
how?
does. And don't be fooled, everybody. She is a beast. She carries a lot. She does so much, and I don't know how she does it. I look up to this woman because I'm like, if she can do it, maybe I can. Maybe baby steps, but I can do it too.
Well, I have to give, just people around me credit. It wouldn't be possible if it weren't for my family helping support me. And I love your mission in particular because, I went through a divorce and never thought that I'd have like, all the gifts and blessings that I have now.
Mhm,
But the
mhm,
fact that maybe, some people out there, maybe divorce isn't their pathway. Maybe it's just a misunderstanding that never got fixed. And I'm
mhm.
not saying that's it for everybody. And I could definitely attest that, hey, what happened to me has actually worked out great. So, so
Yeah.
meaning,
Yes.
I cherish where I was, but this is totally like the best adventure ever with my bestest friend, who's my husband, and so, but we can all use at any level more ideas. Oh, more ideas. So you spell that, by the way, if you're listening to this, it's Moore, intimacy.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, we could all use more encouragement to become closer and more connected. So I appreciate you taking that torch and like running with it.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And I believe that, in our lives that, God has applied that pressure to create a diamond. And if we get too
Mm.
comfortable, if we get too comfortable, we get complacent and, not achieve the goal that He has created us to achieve upon this earth. And so all our trials and tribulations that you go through makes you the dynamic woman that you are today. So, you know, I just
Yay.
yes, and any dynamic woman and any dynamic man that want to get a couple that want to get together, don't let your trial define you, and don't let the roadblocks define where you want to be at, and in the bedroom or even outside of the bedroom.
Yes, indeed. Now I know you're creating your different programs as we speak, so that's going to be very exciting for people. But you just opened up a new, very, very new Facebook group that people can find. How do we find your Facebook group?
Oh, it's on More Intimacy um, Facebook group. So
Nice.
just type in More Intimacy, and you can locate. It should say Holly Moore on it, in red, more like a
Ooh.
velvety red color. So they can check me out.
Oh, I see. Yeah, beautiful photo. Yeah, more intimacy, community for loving individuals and couples. Brilliant. Yeah, and I think it just launched. So first people in. That would be super cool. Amazing. Well, I'd love to talk with you some more. And I know in the future you'll be hosting your own interviews and such. That's going
Yes,
to be pretty neat to witness.
excited. I'm excited. I'm thrilled.
Excellent. So, congratulations on your first chat on wisdom, by the way.
Thank you, thank you. You are a good host because you draw the questions out as well. So, I I appreciate it. You made this experience a great one.
Yay! Excellent. All right. Well, for those of you listening, either now or to our broadcast later, thank you for your time and connecting. Feel free to connect with Holly Moore. Again, we have her group ready for you so that you can at least just kind of get in the mix. Just if you're just curious about like all the things that she's going to be launching, it'd be a good place to kind of get the latest and greatest. And if you have any questions or if you're thinking about, chatting it up with me here on this app, feel free to look me up. You can always search the hashtag expert dreamcatcher, which would lead you to the things that I do. But, feel free to connect. I have different opportunities for those who are entrepreneurs, those who are visionaries, and just people who are creatives and dreamers, as I call it. So, thank
Yay.
you again, Holly. Any last things you want to say to our listeners?
Um, no, I don't have. I appreciate everybody coming out, and if you are interested in checking out, any of my future courses, I will greatly appreciate it. And come and see. And if you just want to sit and listen and absorb, it'll be insightful.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Holly has just a way with words. She's so good at just getting you to have some fun too. So
Yes.
I always appreciate fun people who are just warm, friendly, and also is there to bless you along the way. So, Holly, you're a real treat. And until next time, everybody, we will see you around. So, bye for now. Bye, everyone.
Bye.